When I was a little troll and I was growing up, there were a lot of actors that were big celebrities at the time. And what was interesting is that I had no idea about their political leanings. I didn't know which policies Bruce Lee champions. I had no idea what Stallone thinks about the inflation. They were very famous actors, and you would recognize them. And just by seeing their picture, you would already think about five of their movies. But nowadays, I look at Alysa Millano, and I'm like, what movie is she starring in? Like, what exactly is she... I have no idea. But I do know about her political activism, though. Like, if it wasn't for the movie industry, I would never know or care about what Alysa thinks. But because there are some movies out there somewhere, she gets a blue check mark on Twitter, and now we know about her political activism. And she's not the only one. An army of actors that I literally don't know in what movies they're starring in, but I do know about their political leanings. And they are so bad. They are absolutely atrocious, because these people are not political experts. They're not CNN anchors. They're worse. They have no idea about politics. Like, all they know is how to act and read the script. So when they say something like this, of course there's going to be backlash. Apparently, according to Alysa Millano, she gave back her Tesla and bought a Volkswagen. I just want to let that sink in, alright? Like, you need to buy an electric car to save the planet. Like, the planet is important, alright? Like, the planet is dying. We have to save grandma and your dog. So we need to buy, like, electric cars, which are incredibly expensive. Most people can't even afford them. But Alysa Millano goes, I know, fuck that shit. Because Twitter is reverting back to how it used to be in 2018. I am going to destroy the planet by buying a Nazi car. And the reason people are calling it a Nazi car is because Volkswagen was literally funded by the Nazi. I mean, it's even in the name, Volkswagen. Volk mean the people. Wagon, kind of like the people's wagon. You know, kind of like that, the rough translation. So, like, in order to fight white supremacy, she is buying from a systemically racist company. Now, you may say, what do you mean, V? Like, Volkswagen now is not systemically racist. No. But, like, look, if we are to look at a country, right, like the United States, it's founded on slavery. So, because of that, it is a systemic racist country. Well, Volkswagen was funded by the fucking Nazi. They, you know, why don't we apply the same logic? Like, you have all of these woke corporations that are going to lecture people about how bad and evil America is, and they're going to spend money on an army of diversity officers to lecture you about white privilege and the evil foundations of America. Why can't we all lecture people about the evil foundations of the Volkswagen? Not to mention, like, aren't they destroying the planet? Because they're not an electric car now, are they? So then they're like, I'm not sure how advertisers can buy space on Twitter. Publicly traded companies' products being pushed in alignment with hate and white supremacy doesn't seem to be a winning business model. Man, it's so interesting how, like, white supremacy, it's so tsuyoi, it's so powerful that the moment you don't have censorship, like, that seems to be, according to Alysa Millano, the default state of the world. Like, only with an army of HR ladies that are looming down and making sure that they sanitize what people speak to each other, that is the only way we can have white supremacy being squashed. Like, if you allow a little bit of liberty, if you allow a little bit of freedom, there's too much liberty, too much freedom. Of course, the only people that should have liberty and freedom are people like Alysa Millano, right? Which is kind of funny, because recently there have been a lot of leftists that got banned from Twitter because the rules are now applying to everyone. So up until now, if you're a leftist, you could say pretty much anything and get away with it. Like, if you're a left-leaning person, it's the equivalent of driving on the wrong side of the world and hitting some pedestrians and running away. Like, no one would do anything. But if you're a right-winger and you made a joke, a metaphor, immediately you got banned. In other words, you got stopped for a broken taillight. That's what happened on Twitter. And I want to point out, they're not upset about the free speech. They're really upset about blue checkmark. I think this is what really infuriated them. You have these multi-millionaires being absolutely livid because a billionaire ruined their treehouse and made it more inclusive. And now the peasantry can get in it. Like, up until now, there were articles saying that a blue checkmark costed up to $15,000 if you wanted it. Like, you had to pay under the table for a Twitter moderator to give you the blue checkmark. And now it's $8. So because of that, they're livid. It's like, oh, so the peasantry can get in our treehouse. And they're leaving, you know, like their exclusive club is being destroyed. It's being bombarded with inclusivity and diversity, and they hate that. It's like, oh my god, well, I'm leaving Twitter. Okay, fine, go on Mastodon and get banned there. It's like another fine video to make. Like the struggle that blue check marks are facing on Mastodon is absolutely hilarious. They have nowhere else to go. This is the same problem that right-wingers had. I mean, sure, you can go on a platform where no one is there and you can scream at the internet, but like no one cares, right? Like they want these 52,000 likes whenever they have a garbage take. They want the terms of service to coddle them and to make sure that no one... I mean, the ability to tweet something where no one can respond to that tweet is only on Twitter. All of this is to cater for the blue checkmarks because they know that they have such dumb takes, like such bad takes, that the only way they can get away with it is if no one can respond. And when people can respond, well, apparently Alysa Millano was made fun of the entire day yesterday. She was trending. She's even in the news right now. And by the way, about the advertisers that are leaving Twitter, first of all, it's usually the big brands that are leaving. I mean, you know, like Pfizer. Like, Pfizer doesn't need advertisements on Twitter. Pfizer needs Twitter to make sure that people don't speak against its financial interests. But it doesn't need people to know it's like, oh, yeah, well, you logged on Twitter and it's like, oh, this is Pfizer. If I get sick, I should buy their product. Like, that's not the reason they advertise there. But the mom and pop stores, like the little guy, yeah, they're going to advertise on Twitter. Small business owners, they do need that. So, it's not like it's a huge problem, especially with the business model being around taking money from the user, empowering the user, like making the user not the product, but the actual customer. I like that shit. Yeah, like if everyone would have to pay a subscription to use Twitter, then Twitter would care about the way people feel about using the platform, because right now they only cared about how the blue checkmarks felt. They really didn't give a shit about the average people. And you can notice whenever it's put up to a vote, it's like, do you want more or less censorship? Overwhelmingly, like over 70% of people vote like they want less censorship. Like I'm willing to bet that no matter how you would organize the vote, no matter how you'd get, like if every time people would log on Twitter, they would be asked, it's like, do you want more or less censorship? Overwhelmingly, people would want less. The only people who want more are the people who think they would never get censored. And also, I love the fact that when you buy a Tesla now, it's kind of like a purse poppy. Like, you don't really want that car. It's more like to show off that you have money, wealth, but more importantly, to show off how virtuous you are. Like, you're saving the planet. And it's fine, you know? Like, if you want to buy a Tesla to save a planet, that's fine. But what I don't get is shaming other people for being too poor in order to be able to afford the Tesla. That's the thing that really pisses me off about this type of behavior. And then you get to see, you know, this is why it also trended with Alysa Millano, is that they don't even care about the virtue. Like, the moment is not the current thing anymore, they will throw it away. And they will buy a Volkswagen. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. And of course, if you want to support the channel, there is a link into the pinned comment where it takes you to my subscribe star and you can be a Troll Blue YouTube member on my channel. $8.